There's something that I like right now when it comes to H bar, and what is that? Not too long ago, Kraken, they posted on X, and it said that Thursday 10th, they said H bar. Now, allegedly, hypothetically, if H bar does get listed on Kraken on the 10th, man, I like the sound of that because when it comes to Kraken, massive exchange. When it comes to H bar, I don't think that it has kind of an issue with popularity because I think it's already pretty popular in and of itself. But at the same time, I don't see why stuff like this is bad. Again, Kraken, very massive exchange. Of course, when it comes to H bar, it's already pretty massive in terms of market cap despite the pullback, but still, I like seeing stuff like this. And I think this is pretty decent for the future of Hedera. Now, some people may argue that, okay, let's see if this happens, what's going to happen to the price of H bar? Well, it's tough to predict in that exact moment in time, but the way you take a look at it is that it may not directly kind of showcase it in the price instantly because, of course, altcoins, they're not necessarily doing the best as of right now. So even if, let's say, HBAR gets listed in some other exchanges, whatever the case may be, I don't think it would be like such a big impact in a sense where if, let's say, the market conditions were a lot better, maybe the reaction to it would be different. Now, again, if this kind of happened to HBAR quite a while back ago, that's a totally different story. But now some people may be thinking, oh, why isn't the hype of something like this too good? Well, again, it's because if altcoins are not necessarily doing the best, if HBAR is not doing the best, then it's kind of difficult, I think, in some cases to kind of be excited for something like this. But I'm still very excited because I still like the fundamentals of Hedera. And even though nothing I say is financial advice, HBAR, let's say maybe going to the price of $3, that wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And I think it's because Hedera represents, I think, something that is pretty unique. Hedera Hashgraph doesn't utilize traditional blockchain technology, uses something called a directed acyclic graph, which allegedly is, according to many people, very scalable, has amazing data storage. Also on top of that, consumes very little energy. Like for instance, allegedly, Hedera per transaction average consumes less energy than something like Avalanche, Solana, Ethereum, and many others. So this is something that I am very impressed with when it comes to Hedera. Other projects out there, we see, in some cases use traditional blockchain technology, and that's totally fine, but a directed acyclic graph, that's something I want to look at because I just think it really represents something so unique, something so interesting. So when it comes to use cases for AI, NFTs, DeFi, blockchain gaming, sure, traditional blockchain technology has worked very well for them, historically speaking, and in some cases also right now. But let's say I was a developer, why wouldn't I take a look at something like Hedera Hashgraph? I just think it is something that is so unique, it's so interesting, but again, that's just my thought when it comes to this. Now, let's not forget, right, Hedera has, I think, a very impressive governing council. It includes the likes of LG, Google. We take a look at also Mondelez. Mondelez is, of course, very famous. I mean, one of their brands is Oreo. I mean, that's, again, very popular. So when I take a look at something like Hedera, I don't think it's a bad project because let's face it, right? I don't think Kraken needs HBAR, But the fact that they even kind of focus on HBAR to a certain extent, I would arguably say, even as of right now when altcoins are not necessarily doing the best, I think it kind of showcases that Hedera is kind of beginning to, be out there in terms of how good its fundamentals really are. It's not like it has, again, a popularity, thing where it's not really that popular. No, I think it's actually pretty popular. But again, seeing stuff like this, I think Hedera more and more is kind of being recognized by, these large exchanges. So I do like it. And now let's say in a make-believe scenario, HBAR were to go to the price of $3. Considering current circulating supply, market cap at that point is around $127 billion. I mean, all right, I get it's around an 18x from here, and that market cap may seem kind of like, what do you mean by that? Well, BNB reached actually over $100 billion in market cap back in 2021. But even beyond that as well, some people may think, oh, around an 18x, they may be thinking, oh, take a look at this microcap and whatnot. But keep in mind, if let's say, hypothetically, Bitcoin went to the price of 300 grand, which some people are saying maybe in the next 6 to 10 months, who knows? But let's say it did that, that's still slightly less than a 3x from here. If someone said Bitcoin or HBAR, I'm going to have to say HBAR just in my personal perspective because, I mean, if I got into Bitcoin a while back ago, I mean, sure. But then, as of right now, I just don't get it, at least in my perspective. Now, however, though, historically speaking, altcoins do usually peak as a worst-case scenario around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. which would actually mean around October this year based on the last one, which happened in April of last year. So I can still take a look at stuff like that, but really, I mean, that's just based off history. All I can do is stay patient and just hold. Whenever it happens, I mean, if it ever does, let's say, I hypothetically want to be prepared for that by just holding and just waiting, and that's what I'm going to do. But in the meantime, I do like seeing stuff like this when it comes to Hedera. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I would greatly appreciate it. It's only the captain, and I'll catch you all in the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.